Captain's Log, Stardate 99905.61. Co-Captain Vactor and I, Co-Captain Schaff, are nearing the end of our first viewing mission as Star Trek Picard enters its final episodes of Season 2, which has the crew of the USS TREKnological feeling downhearted and not ready to say goodbye to Season 2. Thankfully, a rendezvous with Captain Rain of the USS TikTok will no doubt be a boost to the crew's morale. It can be lonely out in space. We're grateful to have friends amongst the stars. Welcome back to another episode of TREKnological. This is mission number 9, and I am Co-Captain Schaff. Of course, with me on the line every single week is Co-Captain Vactor. Say hi, Vactor.
Oh yeah.
We are so thankful that you're listening to us today. Of course, we've been going through episodic discussions of Star Trek Picard Season 2, and this episode is no different. We're continuing the our mission, should we choose to accept it, which is to view and review Star Trek Picard Season 2, and this week is Episode 8, called Mercy. So we'll be talking about that. There's a lot of Star Trek news, so we'll be talking about that too. And we have a special guest, and we'll get into that in just a moment. But thank you so much for being here and tuning into us. We really, really appreciate the support. We are part of a podcast network. So in addition to TREKnological, our parent podcast, if you will, is called Geeks So To Speak Podcast. And that is going to be your source for all things geek news. And movies, TV shows, video games, comic books, you name it, we talk about it. Myself and Vactor are also on that podcast, in addition to our best friend Wonder Rob. So I'll definitely check out Geek So To Speak for that. We also have a Star Wars podcast called The Holdo Maneuver. Vactor's on that one as well. By the way, spoiler alert, Vactor's on all of them. So just he's a busy guy. But Holdo Maneuver is our Star Wars podcast with Cinemark. And we also have, it recently went through a name change. It used to be Vactor Loves Comics, and now it is known as We Love Comics, and you should too. Vactor's love letter to comic books, and he has a guest who I think consistently will be Seabury. Is that correct?
Correct. And then we're going to have occasional guests like Mr. Schaff himself.
Thank you. Yeah, looking forward to that. And of course, we also have, for our vidiots out there, our video game enthusiasts, we have the Sandbox Gamers. So if you're a gamer and you're not currently listening to the Sandbox Gamers, you're missing out, because it's a lot of fun. Vactor, Wonder Rob, and Jeff W., who is always angry. They get to talk about the video games they're playing that week, and also a lot of video game news. So it's a lot of fun, and there's just plenty of stuff to listen to in the podcast world. So we try to keep your ear holes very, very busy. Yeah. Thank you so much for listening. Please subscribe to our podcast. Please rate us, review us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts if you get a chance. And also, if you're listening to us on Anchor, there's a way to give us a shout out. You can actually leave a voice memo, and we'll play it on the podcast. So that's pretty rad. Now, we know that Star Trek is something that is usually passed down. It's a tradition that is sort of like family and friends. They get other people to watch. So if you're listening to this podcast and you're a Trekkie or a Trekker, please pass it along to your fellow Trekkies and Trekkers, and let's make sure that this podcast continues to grow exponentially. That's what our ultimate goal is. So yeah. Now, with that, let's scan the planet's surface for any sign of Trek news.
I found some Trek news, sir. Shall I display it on the main view screen?
Negative, Co-Captain Vactor. Let's beam the news aboard, and we can provide it in our show notes for our listeners, because I believe we have more pressing matters to attend to today. Isn't that right?
Aye, sir. The USS TikTok is hailing us. Shall I open hailing frequencies?
Make it so. This is Co-Captain Schaff of the USS TREKnological, and who do I have the pleasure of speaking with today?
It's me, Star Trek guy.
Star Trek guy, yes! Captain Rain, Star Trek guy. Thank you so much, Captain Rain, for coming on the podcast. We really appreciate you.
Yeah, it's no problem.
So for those that don't know Star Trek guy, first of all, I can't believe you don't know Star Trek guy, because Star Trek guy is like the main, like the biggest thing in TikTok Star Trek fandom is as best way I can describe it. This guy is the quintessential Star Trek guy. He's got the perfect name because he's cornered the market on Star Trek fandom on TikTok. And we wanted to make sure our first guest on this podcast was somebody of that caliber. So we're really, really happy to have you on the podcast, Rain. So thank you for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Now, regarding the Trek news, normally on our podcast, we would take some time out and discuss the Trek news happening in the past week. Because we want to make sure there's plenty of time to talk to Rain today about his TikTok fame, about Star Trek in general, and things like that. We're going to provide the Trek news in our episode notes. So there'll be links to click on if you would like to know. But there's some stuff about episodes to watch in preparation for Strange New Worlds, which is going to be starting here in a couple of weeks. Michelle Yeoh also teased a different kind of Star Trek show for Section 31. The Wrath of Khan is headed back into the big screen later this year for its 40th anniversary. There's a Star Trek cruise coming around, and the Star Trek Strange New Worlds is going to be exploring Spock's sexual exploits. So if you've ever felt the original series was lacking on sexy Spock, you're going to get your fill finally.
Oh, dang.
Dang is right.
The cruise, when I was at Star Trek Chicago, the cruise it had opened up 3 days before, and it was at 90% capacity.
Oh my
wow.
gosh.
So I'm going to be honest, if you want to get on the cruise, you may want to do that quickly, because I don't even know. That was 2 weeks ago, and they were at 90% capacity.
Dang.
Now, did you book a ticket for yourself?
I don't have that kind of money currently.
I don't even know what the prices are, but I can only imagine. I mean, cruises are not cheap by their very nature, but
the cheapest was like $2,000 a person.
Ooh, wow. Yeah. There's some sticker shock. I know with the NFTs that just came out for Star Trek.
Don't even get me started.
Both Vactor and I were like, should we buy it?
No. The answer is no. You should not buy it. You should not reward stupid people with money.
Oh, okay. All right. Coming in with a hot take.
I feel like it's not a hot take, though. Most of the community on TikTok and most of the community, even at Star Trek Chicago, were hating on them.
Oh, wow.
That's true. Although they're I don't remember what the highest tier was called, but that thing sold out in just minutes. That was the one with like the completely randomized ships that you would get as NFTs. So
but
that
three
one was
of them
gone.
were
And then
so ugly. Did you see the Constitution refit? It was one of the ugliest ships I have ever seen in my life.
Well, I guess we dodged a bullet there, Vactor.
Yeah, I think our money can be put towards some better things.
Yes, I agree. And maybe Star Trek guy will be able to help us on what Star Trek memorabilia is the right things to be spending our money on. So with that, we're going to go ahead and take some time and let's chat with Rain. Let's get to know Rain, aka Star Trek guy on TikTok. So first and foremost, I just want to kind of I updated my numbers here because Rain's a humble guy, but I just want to put it out there. Like, this guy is really, really killing it in terms of followers and likes on TikTok. He's basically a Star Trek influencer, and I got to pick your brain on this, but 43.9 thousand followers and over 381,500 likes on TikTok. Now, I got to ask, what's it like to have tapped into the Star Trek TikTok fandom?
It is rather awesome. Back in late July, when I started my channel, I did a simple search on TikTok. I searched Star Trek. There was one result.
What?
Wow.
So there was one result that came up when I searched Star Trek, and I'm like, this just can't stand. So I took my old phone and I propped it up against a Star Trek globe, and I recorded a video of myself, and it went viral.
Nice.
It was, I mean, and here's the thing. I am an autistic young person. I'm a neurodivergent. There's a lot wrong with me, and I went viral while my mom was not here. I live with my mom, and I went viral without my support person. So I did not sleep for 2 days after I went viral because I was just freaking out. And my mom was on vacation with my sister, and I was just freaking out at home alone. And I was like putting out 11 videos a day, and they were still getting like 100,000 views, stuff like that. Wow. And it was blowing my mind.
Wow.
Do you recall what that first video was? Like, what was it about that video that just made it explode?
It was really simple. It was literally me saying hello, which has become iconic. And it was me explaining some basics about what I wanted to tell you about Star Trek. And then I hoped to teach you about stuff as over the coming months. And apparently people just really like that.
Nice. Yeah, I think you have such an earnestness about your videos, and TikTok, gosh, it ranges from the most tame, the most wholesome and pure stuff to the most completely opposite, right? Like It's like the spectrum is massive on there, and it really is refreshing with your TikTok handle and what you put out on your page. I always look forward to it, and I had been following you way before this podcast even started, and I was just like, man, this guy's really got he's got a good handle on it. Now I know you also had you have a YouTube page. And I know that the TikTok has taken off a lot more than the YouTube page, but did you have the YouTube page before TikTok? Is that how that worked out?
No.
Okay.
No, I decided to make some. Well, I don't know if you've ever heard of The Kill Count by James A. Janice, but I was inspired by him to make Star Trek kill counts. Oh, so I've been kind of trying to keep up with that, though it has fallen off a little bit with the cons and stuff. So I went to Indianapolis Comic-Con last weekend, and then I went to Star Trek Chicago the weekend before it. So I've been a little bit worn out.
Oh, yeah.
Now, do you mind sharing where you're located?
Wisconsin.
Oh, okay. So you've had to do some driving to get to these places, or are you flying?
Driving.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. Well, that's commitment right there for sure. Now, with all this stellar growth, what is your secret?
I really don't know. I don't know why people watch my videos.
Because you only started this in July of last year. It's not even a year, and you have this much of a following. It's just so impressive to me. And I've not on the account that I reached out to you on, but we have a TikTok for geeks, so to speak. And I initially tried to dabble in it with episode posts and stuff, and it just really never took off. But then again, I feel like it's you get out of it what you put into it, right? So like you've been putting like how many videos a day would you say you do?
Now it's 2 videos a day. Before it was 6 videos a day, and then for a little while it was 1 video a day. So. And then, like, at the beginning, it was like 11 videos a day because I was literally just oh, I have a Borg cube right next to me. Let's make a video about this Borg cube. Oh, all these globes behind me. Let's make a video about the globe. Oh, I have all these cards. Let me just make a video about this card. And
that's awesome.
I love explaining things to people. So I'm a teacher in real life. Assistant teacher. So I like explaining things to people. So this is great for me.
That's awesome. That's very cool, Rain. Well, I don't want to hog all the questions. I'll let Vactor have some time to ask some questions, and I'll come back.
Yeah, Rain, I was actually wondering your thoughts because this is our first time chatting with you. We're almost at the end of season 2 for Picard. What have been your thoughts so far on season 2?
Much better than season 1. I would definitely say I prefer it to season 1. Season 1 had a very weak ending, and it seems like season 2 is coming to a strong conclusion rather than the weak of season 1. I certainly think that Rafi and Rios are not acting like Starfleet officers currently. That is one thing I find. It was one thing when they were acting that way when he was just his own pilot and she was an alcoholic, but now they're Starfleet officers and he's a captain, and he is not acting very captainly. He's,
you know what's funny about that? I had forgot that, and then I was watching the Ready Room, and they showed that like the first when he was a captain, he was in the suit. I was like, oh dang, I completely forgot it because we haven't seen him in the uniform. We hasn't talked about it.
That's a really good observation. And that explains a lot. There's a lot of Star Trek fans upset with this season and Star Trek writers in general because they feel like they're not writing characters correctly and they're kind of worried for season 3 because of that too, because we got a proper farewell for the TNG cast and now we're going to be seeing them again, and the worry is that whatever farewell we get after season 3, will it be justified, like, or will it undo all the sentimentality that already exists?
Have you heard the talks of a Picard movie in the works?
Oh wow.
No, this would be the first that
There is apparently, I haven't posted on my channel because it's not too many sources have confirmed it, but apparently there are in the beginning talks to wrap everything up as a final movie rather than with the final season.
Oh,
interesting.
Nice.
Interesting.
Yeah, I hope
they better get on that. I don't know how much longer Sir Patrick Stewart has.
Yep.
That's exactly what I was going to say too, because you can really tell when you look at old clips of Next Generation and then right back to back with Picard, it's like, oh wow, his speech is a lot slower. He moves a lot slower. So yeah, he's definitely, we want to get as much as we can before he goes to that big Starfleet in the sky. Sorry, Rain. I only had one more question for you. Are you looking forward to Strange New Worlds, or is there something else down the pipeline that you're looking forward to?
So I was always a big fan of early seasons of X-Files. I love Monster of the Week. I love that sort of thing. And the fact that they're bringing it back to Monster of the Week, quote unquote, is, I think, going to be great for the series.
Nice.
I think that one of the problems with Discovery was that it went on too long with the same arc. I think that season 4 could have been shorter. They could have cut a couple of those filler episodes and gotten to the 10C within 10 episodes instead of 14, and we still would have been happy. But I'm definitely looking forward for Strange New Worlds. Anson Mount does a great job. He saved Discovery. He pulled Discovery out of the dumpster. Oh, well, at least in my opinion, I do not like season 1 of Discovery. I do not think it's very good. But so I think that he kind of pulled it out of the dumpster and helped revive it. And Rebecca, I forget her last name, number 1.
Romaine.
Yes, seems like she's gonna do a great job. Ethan Peck, now that he shaved off the goatee, I think is going to do a great job as well.
Nice.
Yeah, I think you're right on. I really enjoyed Anson Mount's performance in Discovery. I think he really brought some gravitas, and he made me appreciate Pike in a way that I never appreciated Captain Pike before. So I really, really, really look forward to his charisma that he brings to the role for Strange New Worlds. Absolutely. And Ethan Peck was really great as Spock. So I'm looking forward to that. I don't know if I'm looking forward to Spock getting sexy, but, but it, sex sells, and it looks like half the people have their shirts off at some point in that trailer. So, so we'll see. Now,
Right.
Vactor and I have talked about this before, but with you on the podcast, we wanted to ask you, Rain, do you have a favorite captain? So obviously we love all the captains. Like we're not going to be like super like discriminatory about anybody, but even though we love them all, there's definitely one or two that stand out for each of us. I wanted to ask you, who would you pick for that?
Avery Brooks. Cisco is my man by far. My sister for Christmas. I see your figure, Vector. I love Cisco. I have so many figures of him. But my sister for Christmas got me a signed picture of Avery Brooks in a First Contact uniform,
Nice.
like sitting at his desk, and it is so beautiful. It's up on my backdrop from my TikTok videos, and I made a video about it, and it is so awesome.
Nice.
That's so great. Is there a second favorite that comes close, or is Avery Brooks like by
Probably
along?
Janeway. I grew up with Janeway, so I grew up watching Voyager. I definitely love Janeway's command style. I like both of their command styles. It's more authoritarian, more my way, put my foot down.
Yep.
I like that.
Nice.
Excellent answers. Very, very good answers. Yeah, you're going to be among friends here on the podcast. We love Cisco and Janeway for sure. You got to meet so many amazing Star Trek actors and actresses at Mission Chicago. I was fanboying big time just watching your videos. And I wanted to ask, like, of the people you met, I mean, they were all pretty amazing, but which one stood out to you as like the one you like squealed the most about, the one that you were just like losing your mind that you got a chance to meet this person and talk to them?
Doug Jones. It was Doug Jones. I love Saru. Saru is my favorite character on Discovery. Book is my second favorite, so I was also fanboying when I met Book. But Doug Jones was such a fascinating, wonderful person. He was talking to everyone, having wonderful conversations. Everyone got a hug from Doug Jones. There was one lady where he was like, oh, your hair is so soft. And he started like going through her hair and is like, oh, I love your hair. he was just a wonderful human being. And you can see it in the video that I made with him that I'm freaking out when I got to meet him.
Yeah. I remember that video vividly. That actually, when I wrote this question out, I was like, I have a feeling he's going to say Doug Jones because the interaction was so pure. He was such a nice guy and he was so personable. And I love that. Was there anybody that you were surprised or maybe you thought they would be nicer, but they weren't?
No, everybody was super nice. Especially the nicest was actually Chase Masterson, who of course played Lita in Deep Space Nine. We actually talked for probably 20 minutes before we made the video.
Oh, wow.
She was so nice. We talked, and in the video we talked about her nonprofit, her charity. It was a really great video. I'm hoping to get permission to put a link to her page that sells her Be Kind merchandise to support their efforts in my bio. So I'm hoping to get permission from her. I've emailed her assistant, and yeah, everyone else was really nice. The only person that we only had one person, and it was actually, so everyone there had a handler. I had one or two handlers next to them that kind of, would scan your phone if you had a ticket or would take your cash to, or swipe your card, whatever. And the handler was just giving me dirty looks the whole time. And my mom was she grabbed me and said, okay, we're not doing this person. Let's get out of here. If she gives you another dirty look, I'm going to say something and I don't want to say something. So let's just leave. So I didn't get one with, Tawny Newsome because her handler was a piece of work.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was really hoping to get Tawny Newsome, but what can you do?
Yeah. I mean, in the grand scope of it, just based on the videos I saw, you got to interact with so many amazing actors and actresses.
Alexander Sadig, Annie Wershner. I butcher her last name. The actor who played Book, I forget his name. Rin the Andorian. He is super nice. If you ever get a chance to even talk to him on Twitter, he is a great guy, and he's right now recording for Star Trek Online. So he gets a character in Star Trek Online.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Oh, by the way, I saw one of your videos. You were talking about that. That's one of the games that you play because you said you're a gamer,
Yeah.
and you've been starting to play Star Trek Online. I introduced Vactor to Star Trek Online. We haven't had a chance yet to play multiplayer together, but I mean, this is a game that's been around for many years and keeps getting additional expansions. Is this a game that you're enjoying playing?
Here's the problem with Star Trek Online. It's very complicated if you stop playing it for a couple months. If you even there's a few games that if you stop playing for just a little bit of time, there are so many controls and so many things you have to remember in Star Trek Online that I'm having trouble getting back into it. But I have enjoyed it in the past.
Nice.
What is the game? It doesn't have to be Star Trek related, but what is the game that you're playing right now, like that you love?
Hearthstone. I am playing Hearthstone on my phone like a lot.
Nice.
Are you a big like Blizzard games fan, like World of Warcraft and such?
Embarrassingly, I loved Heroes of the Storm, and I still do. Heroes of the Storm is my guilty pleasure.
That's a fun game.
Hearthstone,
It is a fun game.
Overwatch and StarCraft are my games. But
Nice.
Okay.
seeing how, I don't want to. Blizzard is not a good company anymore.
Yeah.
They need to get their act together.
Well, hopefully,
That's
I
all I
think they
wanna
were
say.
acquired by Activision, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't that? Yeah. So, hopefully that will help to clear out the what's really wrong with the company and how they're treating people and women, and things
definitely
will get better. So, yeah. The last question I had for you, unless Factor has any others, but the last question I personally had for you is, we get to see in your videos your memorabilia, your merchandise, and you've got some amazing things. I wanted to see if you could tell us about maybe a couple of your most prized possessions.
So my most prized possession is in every single one of my videos now, and it is right on top. It is my first contact phaser rifle that I got off Etsy. It lights up. Parts of it magnetically come off, so you can change the batteries or show off the inside of it.
Nice.
It is really just a prime specimen. It has a little stand. It's exquisite. I love it so much.
Nice.
Some other things I love, of course, would be my Star Trek plate. It is the Tom Paris plate from the Lower Decks episode. Yeah. So if you're looking for those, am I allowed to say the name of where you get it from, or is that?
Oh, absolutely. That's fine.
Head over to StarTrekUnlimited.com. They have got a lot of great stuff. I'm not sponsored by them or anything. It's just they have got some really great stuff like the Tom Paris plate, Geeky Tikis, stuff that's in my background. So that's a lot of fun stuff. Other stuff that I adore.
Probably your uniforms, right? You've got like.
Oh yes.
How many
I've been
uniforms
slowly
would you say you
building
have?
my uniform collection. I believe I'm up to 7 or 8 now.
Nice.
That's awesome.
My uniforms are very special to me. I have them all hanging up downstairs. We steam them. And one other really big thing for me is my Eagle Moss ships. So I've been collecting Eagle Moss for quite a long time. I have probably over 300 of their ships.
Wow.
They are everywhere in the house. And I just love the way they look. I like making videos about them when I open them. That's a lot of fun. Even though those videos don't get too many views, I still think the people who see them like them. So I always love. And whenever people are like, hey, I ordered my subscription because of you, I'm always like, awesome. I love them.
That's so great. That is so cool. Is your mom as big a Star Trek fan as you?
She's not quite as big. I got her into it. Yeah. So I started her with Deep Space Nine. And so she loves Deep Space Nine. She adores Deep Space Nine. We're rewatching TNG right now. Then we'll move on to Voyager and then probably Enterprise. And then, of course, she's watching. I don't watch the latest episode until she gets home. So we watch them in the evenings together. So she's seen all of Picard. She's seen all of Discovery. She's seen all of Prodigy. She's seen all of Lower Decks. And she'll see all of Strange New Worlds.
Yeah.
What a nice thing to share. That's awesome. You've got the reverse thing though. Usually it's a parent introducing a child to Star Trek, and now you're the one introducing your parent to Star Trek. So that's cool. Well, very cool. Well, Rain, we were so happy to have you on the podcast. Now we're gonna switch gears. Vactor, I think we should set a course for our episode recap. Maximum warp.
Aye, sir. Course laid in.
Roll that beautiful bean footage. All right, so we are going to be talking about Star Trek Picard, episode 8 of season 2, which is called Mercy. The official synopsis is, with time running out before the launch of the Europa mission, Picard and Guinan must free themselves from FBI custody. Seven and Raffi come face to face with Jurati and the horror of what she's become. So, Vactor and I have been talking, about this season at length, and we definitely felt that the first half of the season was a much stronger season. Episodes 6 and 7, in my personal opinion, I know Vactor agrees, they were definitely a step backward in terms of not just storytelling, but also interest level. Mm-hmm. Like, they were just boring episodes. And I feel like this episode is not necessarily a return to form, but it's definitely a step in the right direction. That's how I feel. But before we get into any further plot details, let's go ahead and throw up a red alert, because we are going to be spoiling aspects of this episode, and we don't want anybody who hasn't had a chance yet to watch it to be spoiled. So from here on out, we'll be talking about episode details from Mercy. So I'll start with Vactor. What did you think of this episode?
Yeah, like you said, I think this is definitely a step back in the right direction, because the first part of the season, you and I were just on board. It was going up, 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 up. And then we hit kind of the midpoint and started to take a little step down. I think now we're back on course again. Definitely a much improved episode over the last one. I did not want to fall asleep in this episode. I wanted to see what was going to happen next. I wanted to keep going, and we finally got what's going on with Q and a little bit more of his, that backstory. So I really enjoyed this episode.
Rain, what about you?
I would definitely say this was a much stronger episode as compared to the ones directly preceding it. I very much enjoyed the limited Jurati Borg Queen interaction we got. Alison Pill is just a wonderful actress.
Oh,
wonderful.
Yeah. We completely agree with that.
And I liked how we had sort of a callback to Carbon Creek from Enterprise with the Vulcans on Earth.
Mm.
So I think that was I have a feeling that's what that was, and that was a cool little callback. And I liked the whole Vulcans on Earth, and he grew up seeing them as monsters when they were just trying to erase a memory from him.
Yeah, that was a cool development. When the episode started, I couldn't tell if it was the past or the present day. And so that once the episode kind of continued along, I saw, oh, yeah, this is where this is going. But all in all, it's great. I have to say, this entire season, and I hate to say this, but I am the least interested in the Seven Raffi storyline. Whatever they're doing, to me, it's always just a little bit boring. Like, I don't feel like they're written very strongly. Whenever they're about to get into some character development, whenever they're about to dig deep and have a real conversation, they always get interrupted. Either it's Jurati appears and starts strangling one of them, or something else happens, but they never get a chance to face the issues, like Raffi's guilt over Eleanor. We get just a taste of it, but we don't really get to better understand that. With Seven, the aspect of her embracing being a human without Borg implants, we just don't really get to sink into any of that. They don't give them any time, and I think that sucks. Because I think they're cool they're cool actresses, and they have cool characters, but we're really just not getting to know them much more than we already do.
I think it might be some time management issues. It's almost like there's not enough screen time for everybody's story, or to get into each one's into a little bit deeper. So maybe have some episodes where some characters take the lead and you have less. It almost feels like they're trying to balance everybody in every episode and give screen time to everybody. Maybe have Rafi take the lead in one episode. Maybe have them have more development. I think that could possibly help out. But I think I have the same feeling as you, where I don't feel like at this point in the season I've gotten a whole lot more than the beginning of the season. Like where they're at now isn't very different from where they were at the beginning of Picard season 2. And like I said, I think it just may be a logistical thing. Just how many minutes do you have per season? And they may be the ones that are like the scapegoats. Like they're the ones who are taking the fall. Everyone else is getting more development than they are.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Speaking of characters maybe getting development and maybe we don't like it. Rain, I wanted to ask you about Rios. So Rios is getting Rios is getting a fair amount of screen time, but it's doing things. He's basically chasing tail, and and I mean, I like the interactions that he has with. I think her name is Teresa. And her son, who is funny. He's eating too much cake. He's getting sick off cake. Like,
okay, can I say something about that really quick?
Go for it.
When
please.
he said my stomach is hurting, I immediately thought the Borg Queen implanted a virus and he's about to be assimilated. That's what I really hoped, was like that he was starting to be assimilated, and that like that would be a major plot point between him and, you said Teresa, would be that her son would slowly start to become a Borg, and that would. I was really hoping that was, but I don't think it is. I think it was just the cake.
I think it's just too much sugar, too much replicated sugar.
I like that. I like that idea. I would have.
Yeah, I like where your head's at. I like where your head's at. Yeah, as far as this Rio storyline, I mean, are they just spinning gears to try to give him something to do, or do you think that his character is either A, going to hang back and stay in 2024 with Teresa and her son, or he's going to somehow convince both of them to come back to the future with him?
I think that he's going to convince them to come back to the future. I think we've just got another whale story on our hands, another voyage home. I mean, we're already redoing Edith Keeler's storyline basically with her. So why not bring back the one with the whales, and let's bring back a scientist with us, a doctor instead.
Yeah. So I would talk about this with Vactor as well. It really feels like, with Rios having his own ship, being the Stargazer, to me, it seems like a backdoor pilot to his own show, like a spin-off show. Would that be something that you'd be interested in watching? A Captain Rios
I don't think he's
show?
strong enough. I don't think it's a strong enough character to warrant a sequel. Maybe like an anthology series where each season follows a different captain. That might work for him. But I don't think he can put up 7 seasons of content. I don't think he can put up 3 seasons of content, if we're going to be honest.
Right, giving it like it is.
Well, I'm a fan of Rios. I like the character. Well, except for the decisions that he's making right now. But otherwise, I'm a fan of the character. It's just I don't think he's strong enough.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree. To me, initially the show was like really focused on time. Like it was, we got to take care of this because 3 days from now, this is something bad is going to happen and the plot, the timeline's going to diverge. And I feel like somewhere along the way between like, I don't know, episodes 2 or 3 to episode 8, we like the urgency of things has really taken a step backward. Like they say things are happening, but like how much time is really passing in these episodes? Because it's like they're just like really taking things at a crawl. And I wanted to get your guys' take on that.
Yeah, I think it feels like they've spent too much time in the same location and too much time with the wheels spinning of, oh, okay, we got to get to this thing. Oh, now there's a dive. Oh, we got arrested. Okay, now we got to go over here. Now we got to go over here. And I don't know how long, how long has passed. It feels like time doesn't count anymore. So I'm trying to figure out. I thought when we originally went to this, back in time storyline, it was just going to be a couple episodes, then we get back to the future, deal with the Borg Queen or whatever. But then as it's gone on, it's like, oh, they're going to spend this entire season in 2024. So I don't know exactly how I feel about that. Because when I sign up to watch Picard, I want to watch the future. I want to see what's going on in in the Picard timeline. I want to see what's going on over here, not what happened in the past. So I think it's an interesting thing to think about, but I'm not 100% sure. Obviously we don't know what's going to happen next, but looking back on the whole season as a whole, maybe we'll have a better perspective on it. But from right now, from the inside of it, I'm just like, all right, what is going on? What is the main storyline with this time issue?
Yeah.
And another thing is that first episode was so action packed, and
right.
We got this awesome story about the Borg coming back after
Yes.
all this time. They've been weakened, they were crippled by Voyager, and now they're back, and they destroyed all the ships. And what happened there?
Right.
I want more of that.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was
So
thinking
I'm
too.
hoping that next episode they get back to the future, and episode 10 is about something with the Borg, like
Yeah.
you said, with the Borg Queen.
Yep.
From what I've experienced with shows, oftentimes the penultimate episode is way better than whatever the finale is. So that makes me really hopeful for episode 9, because I think that like you said, it's gonna there's something big is gonna happen. This is when the big stuff is gonna go down, because episode 10 is gonna have to deal with resolution, and you can't have climax and resolution in the same episode. It just doesn't really work that way. So
Are you sure about that? Are you sure with these writers they know that?
Fair enough. You
Right.
bring up a good point. We were talking about obviously the future storyline with the Borg basically dismantling an entire fleet before Q snaps them away. Vactor and I have already discussed this, but I know that you love Girardi and you love Alison Pill. But Rain, I assume that you've been checking out some fan theories. I mean, or at least maybe you've heard something. Have you heard about the theory that this Borg Queen that
Is Girardi?
Is Girardi?
Of course I have. Yeah, I think that it fits very well.
Yeah. Because why else would they cover her face up
Yeah.
in the beginning?
Yeah, exactly. And for her to know intimate details about Picard, like how his mom would say, "Look up Jean-Luc," or whatever.
See, what my mom said as soon as she heard that was like, oh, they're going to make Picard's mother the Borg Queen. I was just like, Mom, they can't do that. But she is adamant that the Borg Queen is going to end up being his mother.
It's funny. I had that thought in the background too. Back in the back of my mind, I was like, could it? No.
But I guess for Girardi to be the Borg Queen, I mean, she's already on her way, right? But I guess in some degree, that basically implies that she succeeds. Mm-hmm. So then the question is, do both timelines technically happen? And it's not the Borg, when they open up that tear in space, they're actually coming from the alternate timeline, perhaps, is kind of how I gauge it. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. It makes me very excited to see where the season is going to go. We got some more information about Q in this episode. Either he or his entire species may be dying. What do we think about that?
Well, dying is a strong word.
Yeah, and he said that too, kind of like, what did he say? The infinite. I prefer to think of it as the unknown or something like that. I found a lot of the Q stuff interesting in this episode because we hadn't gotten, we were wondering in the background and what's going on with Q, and then we finally got him talking about it and speaking some more. And actually, I thought he had my favorite line of the whole episode. He's like, humans, they're all trapped in the past. And I thought about that and I was like, wait a minute. That is a very apropos statement from Q. I just liked it. It made me think for a second, and I liked that he did that. So John Delancey, one of my favorite Star Trek actors of all time, and I'm really enjoying what we're getting out of Q in this series.
Oh, definitely.
Rain, I'm so jealous that you got to meet John Delancey in person and interact
Oh,
with him. That's so cool.
he was so wonderful. He asked every single person. He was like, "So what do you do?" And he had like a 7-minute conversation with a guy about headstones.
Oh
So
wow.
he was just a wonderful human being.
Love that. I love that. It makes me sad to think that if Q really is dying. I mean, granted, I think we never expected to see more of him anyways. And then season 2 of Star Trek Picard came along, and we all got spoiled with more Q. But I think that's the most interesting thing to me, is to find out more about what's going on with him. Also, the fact that they're trapped in the past, and the escape, I think he said, is the only thing that matters. So
Yeah.
whatever that means. I mean, he was speaking in riddles to me. It was like, wow, just get to the point. Say what you mean.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love the girl who plays Guinan, the young Guinan. I think she's great. But the scenes with Picard and Agent Wells, I think is his name, those were just kind of whatever to me. Definitely that wasn't the most interesting stuff happening, but finding out about the Vulcans, that was pretty cool. The callback to, as you were talking about the Enterprise episode, like that was really cool. So I think there's a lot of good stuff happening in this episode, and hopefully they continue to get even better with these final 2 episodes of the season. Factor, any other takeaways?
Oh, I'm sorry, Rain. I want to say real quick, the Wells thing that I liked was his whole life being about that moment. Like they're saying, hey, wait a minute. First he was like, oh, my life was a waste. What was the point? And then they were like, well, maybe your whole life was the significance of it was leading to this point and helping Picard. That made me ponder also and think about it like, oh man, that's kind of deep, thinking about his entire life. And he looked like the guy had gray hair, looked maybe he's in his 60s or 50s. And if his whole life amounted to just that one moment, just, I don't know, that just made me, kind of gave me goosebumps thinking about, just the significance of time and humanity, and just one person can make a difference. So all that stuff is what I liked about that Wells scene from that interaction. Rain, I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
Yeah, what I just wanted to say was I hope we get a satisfying conclusion to what Admiral Vance said in Discovery when he said that the Q continuum hasn't been seen for 600 years. I'm really hoping that there's a satisfying reason for that. Then it's not just that it's not just they died. These immortal beings died.
Right.
Very, very astute. I totally forgot that he said that. Yeah, that's great. We were talking about Discovery briefly. Vactor is getting caught up on Discovery, so we're not going to spoil like details. Okay. But I agree with you. Season 1 is absolutely the weakest of the seasons of the show. It gets progressively better as it goes along. But the moment they introduced Captain Pike, I'm right there with you. That is a turning point for the series, and that whole Red Angel storyline. That's what I think helps make Discovery great, and where they go from there is what I think makes Discovery a really great show. And now
jumping to the future was an amazing decision. Like that was that also helped save the show. Like now that they don't have to worry about, oh wait, we have replicators, but wait, TOS didn't have replicators. Huh. Oh, we have a spore drive, but TOS didn't have a spore drive. Oh, we have all this, and TOS didn't have this. Now they don't have to worry about that. Now they're just like, ooh, we got comm badges that float. We can teleport anywhere. Vactor, one of my least favorite things is they don't have to walk anywhere anymore. They just teleport.
What?
So they get these personal little badges that just allow them to teleport anywhere on the ship. So lifts are completely, they're like literally some episodes, like everything takes place just them teleporting to the next place. Like it's literally just teleport to the ready room. Okay, done. Back there. Okay, now we teleport to the bridge. Okay, now we teleport here. Okay, there's no
Dang.
walking anymore.
You're so right. Actually, the only times I've ever seen, at least in the newest season or maybe the last two seasons, that they use a turbo lift is for some comedic effect, like something with the reptilian alien race that he's like a crew member, like he's always got like indigestion or he's sneezing or something, and it was like it's just like a moment to like show him sneezing, and the rest of the crew like, oh gosh, he's got COVID or something. So, but yeah, Discovery's a great show. I am looking forward to the episodic format of Strange New Worlds.
Big looking forward to it.
Yeah. I think of Smallville as well. You were talking about Monster of the Week or whatever, and like Freak of the Week was like a term coined with Smallville, and they really like cornered the market on that in their initial seasons. I mean, granted, they went 10 seasons and it got a little annoying after a while, but
well, same thing happened with X-Files. It went from Monster of the Week to literally every episode being connected, and it's like, what? She had an alien baby, and then she can't have a baby, and then what?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, perfect. Well, gosh, I feel like we could talk like till the ends of time about Star Trek if we really wanted to, but unfortunately we do need to start kind of wrapping things up, just because we try to keep our episodes lighter in length for the sake of our listeners, and also because both Vactor and myself are hardworking dads. My wife is 40 weeks and a day pregnant, and baby number 2 is not here yet. So this podcast is only happening because baby has decided to be patient and wait a little bit longer. So, but yeah, so we try to fit Trek into our super busy lives, and we are super thankful for Rain coming on, aka Star Trek guy on TikTok. We really appreciate you joining the family of TREKnological this week.
Definitely, I enjoyed it.
Vactor, any quick life updates you wanted to share?
Nothing big this week. Just trying to stay caught up on all of these podcasts that I'm doing for the Geek, so to speak, podcast network. And yeah, that's about it.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, Vactor's a busy guy. He's got a lot of podcasts to record and edit. The only bit of news I wanted to give a quick shout out to our nanny. I'm trying to put this in the camera, but what I'm holding up is a pipe cleaner Star Trek Starship Enterprise that she made for me. She takes care of our 2-year-old, well, almost 2-year-old, and so a quick shout out to Morgan, our nanny, because I challenged her. She was making all these dogs and cats and bees and butterflies out of pipe cleaners. And I was like, can you make me the Enterprise?
And for those of you who can't see it, it's fairly faithful to the Constitution class.
Yeah, it's pretty good. She's got the nacelles right. She's got the saucer section. She's even got a little bridge on the top of it.
Yeah, it looks good.
So just a quick shout out to her with her arts and crafts expertise in keeping my Trekkie fandom alive here at the house. So I've got it on my desk here. It's pretty fantastic. As far as Rain, anything you wanted to shout out for, obviously your TikTok, but feel free to shout out anything you'd like to.
Look forward to more posts making fun of Rios's decisions, because I recorded like 6 of them in a row, and more memes about Rios not making captainly decisions.
I can't wait.
Now, when it comes to your videos that you pre-record, do you have how do you decide how you space them out? Is there like a trick to that?
Well, you see, I have 28 videos recorded right now, and I kind of just click on one and say, oh, I like that one. Let's release that one. And then a couple of hours later, I say, okay, I did a meme one already, so let's do a serious one. And on Mondays, I try to do the signature series. So before, all I had was signature cards from Rittenhouse boxes, and now I have actual signatures that I got at cons.
Nice.
Are you going to go to Mission Seattle?
I'm going to try to. No promises, but I'm going to really try to. I will be at Star Trek Vegas though this year,
Ooh, nice.
so that's going to be freaking awesome.
Nice.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'll be moving to Washington. I'm currently in Colorado, but I'll be moving to Washington within the next like 3-4 months. So I fully plan on being at the Seattle Star Trek convention. So
I'm going to do everything I can to be there.
If we both make it there, we got to meet up in person then.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, thank you so much for listening to our podcast. Of course, if you're looking to find us on social media, then you can search TREKNOPod. We're at TREKNOPod on Instagram and Twitter. We are part of the Geek, So to Speak podcast network, which consists of our daddy podcast, Geek, So to Speak, The Holdo Maneuver, our Star Wars podcast, The Sandbox Gamers, our video game podcast, and We Love Comics, and you should too, starring Vactor and Seaberry, amongst other guests along the way. If you're looking for just information about our network or about Geek So to Speak in general, check out www.geeksotospeak.com. And of course, a big shout out to our special guest, Captain Rain of TikTok fame. You can find him on TikTok at Star Trek Guy. Any other social media handles you wanted to share, Rain?
No, I mean, I have a YouTube channel, but there's only like 6 videos, so it's whatever.
Okay. All right. So yeah, focus your attention on his TikTok because he's cornering the market on it. And he's also very gracious and shouts out other TikTok handles. I saw a post the other day that you had for
Galaxy Class Jackie.
Yeah, Galaxy Class.
She makes amazing content as well.
Yeah, so maybe we'll get her on the podcast next. So, but I wouldn't even know about it if it weren't for you. So thank you for being so inclusive with the community. That's awesome. Please don't forget to subscribe to our podcast. Follow Rain, Star Trek Guy on TikTok. Review our podcast. Share it with your friends and family. Next week, we're going to continue our ongoing recap and review of Star Trek Picard Season 2 with Episode 9. And yeah. That's what I have to say about that. Vactor, I believe our mission of the week is complete. Schaff, Vactor, and Star Trek Guy here. 3 to beam up.
Live long and prosper.